Well, in this week's Farmers Weekly, in front page, Hugh Stringleman covers over Fonterra's welcome return to profitability in the 2020 financial year that came out last week. Despite the global disruption of COVID-19 and the directors making a modest 5 cents a share dividend. Joining us now to discuss is Farmers Weekly journalist Hugh Stringleman to discuss Fonterra's healthy result. Hugh, Fonterra has posted $659 million profit and, of course, suggesting farmers $7.19 a kilo milk solids. Was this in line with what you expected?
Yes, I think that signalled that they would return something like that profit, and obviously the milk price is forecast all along, so that would be very unusual if they came out with a major change to the milk price right at the end of the season. So I think farmers will be quite relieved that everything's worked out well, and that this is a recovery from 2 bad years.
And outgoing chair John Monaghan said that the company was match fit going into this pandemic. But of course, reducing debt is still in their focus. What else could be on that chopping block to achieve this?
They have to get rid of their China Farms venture, which has soaked up an awful lot of money. I think at least $500 million over 5 years. And they're trying to find some buyers. And I guess logically the buyers would be Chinese farming interests or local government or even central government. So it's going to take quite a long time, I would think, to come up with a good result for that.
Now, of course, we've got pending director elections. We've got incoming chair Peter McBride, Fonterra, as well as of Miles Hurrell being in the seat now for some time. The cooperative is certainly changing into a different directive. What's your thoughts on the skill sets across the 4 candidates that have been announced so far, and where do you believe this could showcase the company moving forward?
Well, it would be unusual if Brent Goldsack didn't get returned, because he's only a one-term director and he's got very good credentials and background. The 3 other contenders, Mike O'Connor, Nathan Guy and Kathy Quinn, are very strong candidates. And this independent assessment process that they go through tends to, raise the level of the candidates, because you've got to be pretty committed to even go into make your name, declare your interest in the first place, and then to go through the fairly searching examination, I would think, by the assessment panel, and then go through the election on top of that. So those 4 candidates plus several others possibly will go around farmer meetings over the next month or so.
Yeah, certainly not something foreign to former Minister of Agriculture Nathan Guy. And, excuse me, with regards to Fonterra examining its cooperative structure, what do you believe would be a good outcome from this to ensure that debt's reduced but dividends still remain attractive to farmers?
Well, I think that's been the main problem up to date of the trading among farmers system, which has now gone 8 years and has only paid a reasonable dividend in probably 2 out of those 8 years, and therefore the unit investors have not received much in the way of a yield or return on their investment, and they are now essential to provide an open market for farmer shareholders themselves to sell out when they want to. And so they've got almost contradictory objectives here. You've got to try and make it a stable share market so that it's somebody can sell when they want to or buy when they want to. And then you've also got to try and treat 2 completely different categories of shareholders equally, and that's what the principles of the review state, that's their intention, to try and achieve that. Well, they've been trying for 8 years and they haven't achieved it yet. So it'll need something fairly clever I think, in the way of a capital restructure to reconcile these sort of conflicting objectives.
And Hugh, to close, in the first lift in a couple of months, the GDT came up 3.6%. You're keeping a close eye on this every fortnight. The volatility in food service, do you think Fonterra is on track to maintain a positive profit going into the next 12 months?
I think there'll be a lot of interest in how well dairy markets behave or perform with this sort of COVID wave, which is still, racing around the world in places like India and Africa. So it's really too early to say whether that was going to adversely affect the milk price. But their forecast, Fonterra's forecast, is a very wide one. It's got $1 between the top and the bottom. And I think it should be possible to come in somewhere within that range. But we've only had 2 months of the season so far, and so there's a long way to go.
Hey, thank you so much, Hugh Stringleman, journalist there, very experienced journalist, and particularly focusing in dairy is Farmers Weekly's Hugh Stringleman.
This is Sarah's Country.